Hey, Yoda brothers, what's up? It's the director. Raise your hand if you're still riding the high from yesterday with those Chargers uniform reveals. Oh my God, were they so cool. Like, bravo to the Chargers team out there. I was worried they were hyping it up too much, that it would be released and be a disappointment. Nah, man, they absolutely blew all of our expectations out of the water. So exciting. Guys, this whole offseason's been so awesome. You know, plugging in a lot of holes in free agency at a really decent price, getting these jersey reveals, but inevitably everybody's gonna be thinking about the draft now. The draft coming up tomorrow. Can you believe it? So we're going to go over something kind of awesome today. I'm going to give you guys my Chargers 2020 draft game plan as a fan, and it should be exciting, guys. Hopefully we can get some awesome conversations started in the comment section below, you know, with this topic, because tomorrow is the day. It's happening. We're getting our 2020 draft class on the Chargers roster tomorrow through Sunday, so I'm so excited to see that happen, guys. And before we jump into it, guys, if you hit us up with a like and sub, I have noticed that maybe like 15% of my viewership comes from subscribers. If we could help get that number up just a little bit to maybe like 50 or 60, that would help me out a lot, guys. Literally the small amount of time you take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification help me out a lot. We're getting close to 14,000 subscribers, and I owe that to you guys. Let's become professional YouTuber here with the Director's Channel. So with that, guys, let's get into this video. So my game plan as a fan, now keep that in mind, I'm a fan, all right? I don't get paid to scout players. I don't get paid like a coach or GM. You know, I'm just sitting here observing what I would do as a fan, all right? And I would love to hear you guys' opinions in the comment section below. They're all just opinions, you know what I mean? So my opinion is going to be that we target quarterback in this draft. This is probably the most important draft that Chargers fans have seen in 15 years because we need a quarterback, as well as where we're positioned in this draft at pick number 6. We have an opportunity to add a huge game-changing player to this roster depending on what we want to do. My game plan going in is to target a quarterback, and you guys are going to know this. I'm going to be targeting Tua Tagovailoa. Now, to be clear, guys, just because it's a game plan doesn't mean that's what we should do, okay? This game plan is going to kind of feature out what I think it's worth going after with Tua Tagovailoa. There's a balance of risk and reward with the injury and what he could become with Tua, okay? So again, I'm not going to over pursue. This is what I'm going to call it a semi-aggressive trade pursuit for Tua. Because yes, I think Tua should be the future of this team, but I have to be logical and say, don't overpay for a quarterback that could be injured. And even if you do get him, you have to execute his introduction into the NFL properly. Now, the introduction part of it, I think we're in a really good spot for. If Anthony Lynn really believes in Tyrod Taylor, you know, he's been a coach a long time. He's been in this world a long time. If he truly does believe in Tyrod Taylor, you know, if it could be a legitimate, you know, starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, I'm going to back Anthony Lynn. I get it, man. If that's his decision, that's his decision. But I also think that as a GM, Tom Telesco's obligation is to have a fallback plan, to have a plan B, and that should be addressed here in the draft. That should be either Tua Tagovailoa or another quarterback coming out of the 2020 class. So with that, you have to have some sort of foresight on how the draft is going to lay out. So I do think I've got a pretty good idea of what the picks in front of us are going to look like, okay? Now, this is just going to mainly be for the first round. I will address a little bit about the second and third round, but I think this is the most important pick. So this is my game plan going into that first pick, all right, in the first round. So with pick number 1, Cincinnati. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to take Joe Burrow, okay? I think a lot of people know this already. They had some smoke screens of, you know, like maybe Joe Burrow doesn't want to play out there, you know, this and that. I don't think there's going to be any doubt in my mind they're going to take Burrow just because they have so many other holes they have to fill on their team. Why not start with your quarterback and build around that? They're not crazy enough to pass on a quarterback or maybe take another trade and, you know, lose that prospect of having something to build off of just to take a risk somewhere else. That's not going to happen. They're going to take Joe Burrow with pick number 1. Pick number 2, Washington. There was some smokescreen about them maybe taking Tua Tagovailoa, having him compete with Dwayne Haskins. I also think that's not going to happen. 100% a smokescreen. I think they have the best talent in this class at pick number 2 with Chase Young. It's something that can build the future of this defense. We've seen this in years past with guys like Nick Bosa. You get that centerpiece of your defense on the team, you know, from like a talent like Chase Young. Obviously, he's capable of doing that. You're not going to pass on that. We've seen what can happen with defenses. All of a sudden, the Niners went from a decent defense to a Super Bowl caliber defense. And I think Ron Rivera and their GM know that, and they're not going to pass on Chase Young. That's going to be the pick in number 2, in my opinion. Again, I'm just kind of hedging my bets here, guys. Anything can happen. I've said that a million times, but in my game plan, that is what I'm betting on. That's where I'm putting my chips, okay? Now, speaking of chips, what are you going to do with these chips at pick number 3 with Detroit? What do you think they're going to do? This is where things kind of shake up a little bit. This is where I've heard a lot of rumors about them wanting to trade down, and honestly, I'm 50-50 on that. They could take a player or they could target a trade down because they could still get a player that they want, you know, at a lower pick, maybe a 5 or 6 with Miami or Los Angeles. And in my opinion, they're targeting a player like Jeff Okudah, maybe even a Derek Brown, maybe offensive tackle, but that's less likely to me. I think if they have one player on their board higher than everybody, it's probably going to be Jeff Okudah with Simmons and Brown or somebody right after that. Now, this is where you start entertaining trading up in the draft to grab your guy, in this case Tua Tagovailoa, but you need to make a reasonable trade that's not going to cripple, you know, the capital you have in the rest of the draft as well as the future of your team. You have to be intelligent about it, and I think the Chargers are the kind of players or the kind of team that will make an intelligent offer and not try and overpay if another team swoops in and says, hey, we're going to give you, you know, everything in the kitchen sink. We're going to sit back and say, okay, you know what, we tried, but we're not going to overpay. So me personally, I'm going to go in with a max offer of our first round, our second round, and a second round in next year's draft. Okay, so the 6th, 37th, and a second next year. Now again, I'm basing the value of these picks on a draft pick value chart. 2,200 points is what Detroit's number 3 pick is worth. Our number 6 pick in LA is worth 1,600. So to compensate for that and then also overpay a little bit because it is for a quarterback, that's the max offer I'm willing to make. Now, if the offer gets too high or another team is outbidding us, you know, at least put that bid in. At least put in the maximum bid that you're willing to go, just so that the other team that gets him has to pay a little bit more. And who knows, maybe both the Chargers and the Dolphins decide to sit back a little bit because the Lions maybe want too much, okay? But you never know. So if the price is too high, we're going to sit tight, all right? And I think Detroit, if they do trade down, definitely try to take an Okudah or an Isaiah Simmons if they trade down with Miami or the Chargers. So let's say at pick number 3, Tua is still on the board, or pick number 4, Tua is still on the board. You're looking at the New York Giants pick, okay? And this is the pick I'm honing in on the most. This is where I think if we do decide to trade up, this is going to be the best value for our team, where I'm willing to make a move at a price that's decent for the squad. Now, in my opinion, the fans in New York want Isaiah Simmons. I think the team wants an offensive tackle. They just drafted their future quarterback in Daniel Jones last season. He was getting eaten alive out there. They need to address offensive tackle now, and I think that's what they're going to do. Okay, if I'm hedging my bets, people want Simmons, they're going to take offensive tackle. Now, in a scenario where Detroit doesn't trade down, I think New York likely will, because they know they can get one of their top offensive tackle prospects, you know, a pick or 2 later, almost guaranteed, you know, especially because of the teams behind them both need quarterbacks. So it would make a lot of sense for New York to move out of this pick right now. This is why this is the pick that I'm targeting, okay? There is a scenario where 2 is already off the board. We're going to say he isn't yet, okay? Or maybe we're going after Justin Herbert. You never know. The reason this trade makes so much more sense is because of the value of this pick. The Detroit's pick, their 3rd overall pick, is worth 2,200 points, whereas the Giants, just a pick later, is worth 1,800. Only 200 more than the Chargers, so we would have to give up much less to move up to number 4 rather than number 3, okay? So the max offer I'd be willing to make with New York is our 2nd pick, our 3rd pick, and a 2021 5th pick. So the 6th, 71st, and a 2021 5th. Now you look at that trade, and let's say we get Tua for that trade. I feel so much better about trading with New York than I do about Detroit, just because of how much we're going to have to give up. It's much less with New York. That's why I'm targeting their pick way more than Detroit's. But I also think Miami might be thinking that too, okay? So maybe they're going to aggressively go after New York's pick as well. And in that case, again, our job is to drive up the price for them. If they decide to overpay way too much, that's where we sit back and say, you know what, we tried to get Tua, but the price was just too high. But at least we put an offer on the table. So let's say in that scenario, Miami does get Tua, okay? And that's kind of where we sit. In the 5th pick, New York would likely take an offensive tackle, maybe Isaiah Simmons or Jeff Okudah as well if he's still on the board. It kind of depends on how it falls. So those are the scenarios for New York. Let's take a look at Miami's pick. Pick number 5, this is the most difficult hurdle that we're going to have all season, is with the Dolphins, because they can move up or down. Now, again, I think the scenario of them moving up is pretty high. I would give it like maybe a 50-60% chance that they do move up in the draft and possibly outbid us because they have more capital. But there is a scenario where they're probably going to stay put. If they do stay put, they likely do get Tua Tagovailoa. There are rumors that they do want Justin Herbert more. That's possible, but at the same time, I would put more my bets on them taking Tua, that it was more of a smoke screen. Okay, so I'm gonna say more than likely, if everybody sits, if nobody trades, you know, in the first 3 or 4 picks, that Miami's gonna end up with Tua, and they could maybe end up with Justin Herbert too. You never know. Or they could shock us all and take an offensive tackle or Isaiah Simmons. You don't know. It's the draft. So moving to pick number 6 to wrap up this video, the Chargers at pick number 6. If we decide to stay put, we don't decide to move up, or it becomes too expensive to move up, and we sit at pick number 6. There's a couple different scenarios that we could go with here. Okay, and you guys have seen these in my past videos as well. If we sat and Tua falls to us, you obviously take him. It's the Derwin James scenario all over again. You're obviously going to take Tua Tagovailoa. He's likely going to be gone, however. So at that point, you have to consider Justin Herbert, okay? But if Herbert's sitting there as well as Isaiah Simmons, maybe a Jeff Okudah, you never know, I think you need to look in the direction of Isaiah Simmons or an Okudah, you know, a better talent, you know, on defense, and then address quarterback a little bit later. So again, if I'm looking at Herbert and Simmons, I'm going to be taking Simmons and addressing quarterback in the 2nd, 3rd round, maybe even after the draft. So let's say we get Simmons in the 1st round. I'll be targeting guys like Jalen Hurts, maybe Jacob Eason, maybe even trading back into the 1st round to grab like a Jordan Love, or maybe even Justin Herbert if he does fall. Now, more than likely, again, if I'm hedging my bets, I'm going to say that all of those guys are gone, that our best options are going to be guys like offensive tackle, maybe Derek Brown, and Justin Herbert. In this instance, what I would do is maybe take Justin Herbert. Okay, I think Justin Herbert would be the pick there. If all those guys are gone, which is likely, I think you take Justin Herbert, man. Now, people are getting the impression that I don't like Justin Herbert. Completely false. I do love Justin Herbert. If we go out of the draft tomorrow in the 1st round and we have Justin Herbert with the 6th pick, I don't know if that's what I would have done, but I will be ecstatic to see Herbert on our team because of the upside that he brings. There is some risk with Tua, guys. His injury is something that we have to monitor and take seriously, and that's a negative that Tua holds. You know, negatives do exist for Justin Herbert too, but I also think they're absolutely fixable just the way Tua's are fixable. You know, you let him sit and heal, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be, you know, a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Justin Herbert, you could say the same thing about him, man. What does he have problems with? His progression, his leadership skills, overanalyzing things a little bit. We need to teach him to act on instinct and teach him how to be a leader in the NFL. Honestly, those are things that should be achievable on any team. The NFL at a professional level should be able to mold the physical traits that Justin Herbert has and turn him into a threat in the NFL. Justin Herbert should be successful in the NFL. He has as good a chance as anybody because of his physical ability, but it does have risk as well. So both quarterbacks have risk. I think we should take Justin Herbert with the 6th pick. If all of our other my guys are gone, there is a scenario where we can trade down as well if the price is right, but that's kind of my game plan going into this. But lastly, if we go into the draft, we don't get a quarterback, maybe we pass on Justin Herbert for an Isaiah Simmons, which again is my first choice. We do get Isaiah Simmons, we don't have a quarterback that we didn't, let's say we didn't address one in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, we didn't get a quarterback this draft, which is completely likely as well. My backup plan going into this draft is if we can't get Tua, if we can't get Herbert, my plan, you know, and we can't get a 3rd or 2nd round quarterback or whatever, we just don't get a quarterback, my plan B or D or C or whatever is going to be Cam Newton. We didn't sign him before the draft because we didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe we get Tua, maybe we get Herbert, maybe we get Hurts, maybe we get nobody. In the case that we get nobody, Cam Newton should be our fallback plan. Okay, and I think it's very intelligent because of the way our team is lined up right now. We have a quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, where our new rookie quarterback can learn and sit behind him. Okay, but if there's nobody sitting behind him, we still need a contingency plan at quarterback. That's where you get Cam Newton. Okay, and we can get him at a reasonable price. We have the cap space to do it. That should be your plan D. So plan A is Tua. Plan B is Herbert. Plan C is like Love and Fromm and, you know, Eason and Hurts in the later rounds. And then plan D should be Cam Newton. You should have, you know, multiple plans to back up your most important position on the field, which is quarterback. So that is my plan going into the 1st round for the 2020 NFL draft, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I know it's my opinion. I know it's probably not going to agree with a lot of your guys's. That's totally fine, man. I want to hear your guys' opinions. I sit and spend a lot of time reading your guys' comments in the comment section below because it's a good read, man. I want to learn more. I want to learn more about the Chargers and football and your guys' opinions as well because they're important. You know what I mean? Like all of this build up to the draft, anything can happen, and I want to be ready mentally and intelligently just in case something out of the blue happens. Maybe one of you guys got it right. You feel me? So I'm excited to see, guys. Tomorrow's the draft, one of the best days of the NFL year. And I'm so excited to see what happens with the Chargers. Really hoping we get Tua Tagovailoa. If we don't, I would be so happy with, a Justin Herbert or an Isaiah Simmons or a Jeff Okudah. I think the Chargers can't lose with this draft just because of where we're picking from at pick number 6. And I think this is the year we obviously are going to try and get a little bit more aggressive, but don't over pursue, don't overpay. You know what I mean? Like, do it intelligently. Now, if we do overpay, that's fine, whatever. I will still back the team. But at the same time, I think this would be my plan going in intelligently. Well, if you guys like this video, hit us up with a like and sub, and let us know in the comment section again what you guys think, what your opinions are, how excited are you about the NFL draft tomorrow, and give me one player. I don't care what round it is. You can tell me, I want Tua in the first, or maybe I want Laviska Shenault in the second, or I want Jalen Hurts in the third. Give me a my guy for you guys in the draft tomorrow. So excited to see what goes down. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director, and as always, stay frosty and bolt up.